I'm like, you put me live and muted me. I see how you feel about me now. Hey, welcome to Schooled Thru Spirit. I'm DeEtte Ranae, your host here on WLTK.
Renee.
Good morning. This is DeEtte Ranae here on WLTK-DB, excuse me, Schooled Thru Spirit. Excuse me, I'm your host, and I am having a great time already this morning. We are trying out a new system called Schoolyard, which is pretty amazing. Unfortunately, we're just getting some kinks out. So you might have heard me already introduce myself. So let's talk a little bit about this show. Excuse me. This show is a radio show that we do explore different lives, people's journeys, and how Spirit has really impacted them. Now, I do talk to different people from different modalities of spirituality and others that have just found that Spirit has impacted their life. Now, each week I do talk about a subject that Spirit gives me. Excuse me, my computer feels like it's really close to me. And then I go on to my guest. Now, I have been working on names, guys. I've been working on names. And this week's guest is Anthony Mikolojeski. Now, if I'm wrong on that, he is going to correct me. But he is an amazing medium. Great guy. He's over towards the East Coast. You're going to love him and his story. And I really cannot wait for you to share that with you. Now, as you know, we do go live. And I want to let you know, we are, as you know, on the StreamYard. Okay, we're on StreamYard. But the cool thing is, we are also on Facebook, okay? So you can still find us on Facebook all over the place. You can, I'm not sure, it might be YouTube too. I believe it's YouTube also. So we're just trying something new, see what happens. We're hoping to be able to actually start live stream onto Twitter and things of that nature also. Okay. Now, the one thing I have to get used to is for some reason my computer is mirroring itself and it's driving me batty. So it's like I turn my head this way and the computer's saying I'm doing it the other way. So it's gonna drive me batty. Just something for me to get used to. On that note, sorry, we're on YouTube and Twitch right now. So, and I just shared it to Facebook, I believe. So there you go. There you go. We're all over the place. Trust that you can come in and do live comments, guys. So if you find the stream someplace, go ahead. Feel free to comment. It's going to come into here to me, and we'll answer those questions, comments, concerns, whatever they might be. Okay? Because it's just something we enjoy doing. And we like to add the extra things just to be able to reach more people. Now, the cool thing about all of this show is, one that I can't, this is really distracting. This mirroring thing is really distracting. It's really weird. But I just keep like, is there any way to flip it? I don't think there is. And it's going to be like, oh my God. I can always leave the studio. I don't think my producer would like that though. He probably yell at me like, don't go, don't go. But okay, let's kind of go back a little bit. I really digress there. I apologize. So, ways you can find this right now. So as you know, we are live streaming through StreamYard now. You can go to YouTube channel. You can go to Facebook. You can go to Twitch. You can find us all those places. Okay. You can also go to the station. It is so simple. www.WLTK-DB.com. That is going to bring you to the station itself. And you can click, boom, listen live. So in case you know what, you got to go on the road and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my internet, or I'm going to lose this, or I'm going to lose, well, if you lose internet, I'm kind of like not going to be able to help you. But you can get in there and you can still listen to us on the road, okay? So, or we'll listen to us at work. It's not necessarily you have to watch us, which is kind of cool, okay? Now, after the fact, other things have changed with the station. Oh my God, and these things are really exciting. So as everybody knows that listens to us here, we always flip into a podcast when we're done. And our podcasts are everywhere, like literally quite everywhere. Oh my gosh, my nose. And I'll tell you a minute about that. Not that it doesn't always run, but tell you about that in a minute. So basically, we're going to go to a podcast. And after the fact, you're going to be able, what has switched about this is that you no longer have to look for my show under Haunted Voices in all these podcast ways. The producer Todd has made it so much easier for you guys to find me, find my show. So you can literally go to, and I'm going to see if I can figure them all out, because I got a list. It's like, it just feels like it's endless. So after the show, I'm going to flip into a podcast. I am on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, I believe Google Podcasts, Podbeam, Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, I think that's all of them. There might be a few more. If you find them, let me know. Just kick in and let me know. But all you have to do is you can Google Schooled Thru Spirit, okay? You might even just be able to Google my name, DeEtte Ranae, and see what pops up. But it's so much easier now. So it's just made it easier for you guys to see this format of the show that's going on and see it in a different category. So I will tell you, if you've gone in over the weekend and you've tried that theory, if you've tried it, I'm going to tell you what, it's told you I don't have any podcasts. And that's because today's show is going to be the first one that's just solely under my show's name and myself. Okay? So no, after this from today, you cannot find my past shows currently directly under my name, but from now on out you can. Okay? So because, there's always hiccups as we flip things and turn things and different things happen. Oh my God, that light's really bright in my eyes. So that's pretty cool. Now you're also going to notice that I'm in a remote location. It's not really remote. It's just next room over. What has happened, I don't know if anybody can see this lovely picture. That is my office currently. Okay. That is the place that I normally went to. Okay. My serene spot, my office. And I asked a question, can we fix the floor? This is the answer I got. So we are fixing the floor, but I am one room back. This is a storage room. Isn't it a great storage room? We cleaned it up. We made offices out of it. It's working. We're going to run with it and see what happens. Okay. Now, the topic, oh my gosh, it's so strange because the topic we're going to talk about today is fear. Okay. Now that I got everything else undone, that'll be easier every week. We're going to talk about fear. Okay. Fear is such a big dynamic word. It's really something that, and I literally just Googled, I'm a Googler. I can't help it. I like to know things. So when I find something I want to know, kind of like the legitimate meaning and stuff like that. So I do a lot of Googling. So, when I looked up fear, and I literally put in the meaning of fear, and of course it brings up the dictionary, and it says as a noun, it's an unpleasant emotion caused by a belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or threat. As a verb, it's be afraid of someone or something is likely to be dangerous, painful, or threatening. I'd like to add something to that. Okay? Because it really is fears of the unknown. Oh my God. Every morning, guys, I do this show. My nose is like bleep, bleep, bleep. Fear really is something of the unknown. Okay. And it's kind of like, it's really what it is at the end of the day. We have these fancy definitions which are awesome, but really it's an unknown factor, and that's what we're afraid of. Okay. And I want to put it in, and I could say, like I have anybody that knows me, I have like an almost paralyzing fear of snakes. And it is bad. I mean, at one point I couldn't even look at a picture of a snake. It was that bad. I think I just have a really bad past life with them. And that's kind of transferred into this lifetime. And I don't have a lot of intelligence on them. So therefore, it just kind of increases my fear basis. Okay. So basically, that is a major fear for mine. Now, other fears that I actually kind of deal with on a day-to-day basis have nothing to do with the 3D world. My fears are the fears that I deal with a lot of time have to do with, that spiritual world, that world that we cannot see. Okay. And I deal with that with a lot with students and friends and different people that might want some advice in the realm that I work in. And I always tell people, in order to do this work and do it very, very well, um, we have to kind of address our fears. We really do have to address our fears. And one of our major fears, at least for myself, especially starting this work, um, was fear of that unknown, fear of what I was going to see. Okay. What was I going to see on the other side if I opened up to my abilities? What was I going to see? Okay. Was I going to see dead, mangled people? Was I going to see something like you've seen in the movie I See Dead People? Am I going to see something like I would see on some horror screen? I mean, what would some of your fears be? If this is the type of work you did, what would your fears? What would be some of the things you'd be afraid to see? For myself, those were all my fears. Or maybe I would fear, rattling chains or something of that nature. You know, and it's strange because I teach people that, how do I say this? I teach people or explain to people that in our world, in my world of spirit, now this isn't haunted houses and things of that nature, but my world of spirit, and I do say my world because my world, spirit wants to talk to me. Okay. They want to come in. They want to talk to me. They've helped set up this union. They want to talk to the person that I'm talking to. They want to help them heal. They want to heal. They want to have closure. They want this. So they're not the type that go bump in the night. Okay. But again, because it's an unknown factor, here I am sitting there with this, with this possibility of a fear of what is or is not going on. Okay. So I have to explain to people that, you know what, in this realm, these spirits don't want to scare us. Okay. I can remember a reading I did. Excuse me, my throat. I did this reading in a gallery situation quite some time ago. And I was still in that realm of, oh my God, this kind of fear, this fear factor of going on. And I can remember me going to spirit going, you know what? I just had a feeling I was going to see something. And I went, I don't want to see anything gross. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see that. I almost gave them a list of demands, which really I didn't need to do. They know, but they know. And I can remember I went into this gallery and I was doing this gallery and as I was talking to the spirit, they weren't saying who they were. I knew it was a male. Okay. I knew it was a male. And I knew he had some sort of substance in his body. At that time, I didn't realize it was drugs. I could feel a substance in my body. I didn't know if it was alcohol. I didn't know if it was drugs. I didn't know if it was medication. I didn't know if maybe it was morphine, and life or whatever, but I could feel a strong substance in my system. And then he showed me he went for a walk into the woods. And I went, okay, this isn't going to end good. And it didn't. But literally he showed me that he was going to go for a walk in the woods. So he took me for a walk into this woods and talk about like Blair Witch story. Scary. It really was because he was taking me on his journey. And he showed me as he was walking through this woods, he was quite intoxicated on whatever was in his system. And later on, I found out there was a lot of drugs in his system. He was an addict. But he'd fallen. And when he fell and landed, he hit his head. And he basically broke his neck. He became paralyzed. He wasn't able to move. And he laid there. And he laid there for days before he finally passed away. Now, I don't know because thank goodness he didn't show me this. Okay. Because this isn't a whole lot to go on, is it? I mean, really, I got somebody that's, they got something in their blood. They show me a walk for the woods. They show me they've fallen. They show me they can't get up and they died. That's not a whole lot to go on. I mean, not everybody's got that story. But you know what? There's a possibility to have quite a few. So I literally went to him. I said, I need something more. And He kept just saying, there's something with my face. Tell them there's something major with my face. He didn't tell me it was gone. He didn't say anything else, but he just kept saying, let them know. They'll know by what's going on with my face. And the lady knew. And she said, I can take him. And I said, okay. And gradually, he still didn't show me what was going on with his face. And beautiful message came in and blah, blah, blah. It was just an amazing thing. Well, when the gallery was done, the lady approached me and said, she told me she was very thankful that I did not announce to everybody what was going on with his face. And I said, well, he didn't show me. He just kept saying that. She goes, oh, by the time they'd found him, half of his face had been gone because of animals. Now for myself, God, can you imagine if you've seen that? You know, not only just being a family member and a loved one, but somebody that talks to dead people, somebody talks to spirits, and all of a sudden seeing that, oh my God, I don't know if I could do it again. So, you know, I found out that day, I no longer had to be fearful. I no longer had to fear that, you know, spirit wouldn't show me something I didn't want to see. Okay. So, you know, that's one thing I do explain to people, at least in the realm of my world. Now I have to tell you, about a little over a week ago, I had to address another fear I had. And sorry, it's cold back here. So this blanket's gonna come on and off all day. I apologize for that. But another fear I had, and I felt drawn to go to, was to go do a paranormal research, investigation. Have any of you ever thought about doing that? I mean, seriously, has anybody really seriously contemplated going to an insane asylum and see what's going to happen in life? My phone is blowing up. I don't even know why, but it's blowing up. So sorry, I had to answer that one because it has to go with my my office space. They want to know the dimensions. But I can't obviously leave you guys and go do some dimension work. So I had to let them know. But anyway, so I decided to do this paranormal investigation. And I'll tell you what, it's been a fear factor of mine for a long time. You know, have I always liked spooky and creepy? No, not at all. I mean, do I like the kind of haunted houses where I go on Halloween and they go boo? Yeah, I loved them. Thrill, major thrill. But to go into the real deal, no. And I knew that was a fear factor, and it has been most of my life because I have lived in some very haunted houses. Okay, very haunted houses. I've lived in a house that actually had an investigation team go in, and they were blown away by how much activity was there. And I've never had an issue in any of them. Other people had, and they're like, "Oh my God, you see this? Oh my God, you see that? Oh, you know, oh my God, oh my God." And I would go, "Well, no, I didn't really." And the reason wasn't because I wasn't gifted or I didn't have these abilities. It was because literally in the first couple of days, stuff was happening. I go, okay, guys, I don't know what's going on with this house, but y'all either knock it off or I'm leaving. And I only heard little bumps in the nights, nothing major. And no more activity. I never had issues then. So even though I lived in these very haunted places, I didn't understand that the spirits that lived there were very respectful of my wishes. So I never dealt with it. So for the first time, I was going to go and put myself in this paranormal situation. And what got me thinking about it and got me going that way to face that fear was because, one, paranormal has really been entering my life over the last year or so. No, maybe a little over a year. In different aspects, really weird different aspects, kind of like little hints. And I don't know what it was getting me ready for, but like, you know, you got to bridge this fear. You have to have an understanding of it. You have to kind of go there. I have friends that are paranormal investigators, and I've told them I don't want anything to do with it. But yet all the equipment's come out when I've done galleries just to see if they can prove something there. I have had, you know, students that I have literally mentored. And this is the past before my more recent guest, Rob, came into my life, where I mentored to get ready for paranormal investigators for TV shows. So this has been part of my realm, part of my work, but never actually putting myself in that position. And it was funny because when Rob Thompson of Ghost Finders approached me and said, "Hey, will you mentor me?" Um, because he just wants, he's already a medium, but he wants to get a little bit more training, a little bit more direction on. He's like, will you mentor me? And I said, yeah, I would love to. I scratched my head a little bit, went, God, I should probably go do this. I need more understanding. Now I had to stop and go because that's a huge fear factor. I didn't want to just go do it. Not, yeah, I did. I did just go and I booked, and I didn't do it by myself. I actually contacted a friend of mine that's a paranormal investigator out of Minnesota. Asked if he'd come with, and he said, yeah, he'd love to, and talk to my daughter and another student that's into it. And there's a group of us going to go to Edinburgh Manor, and that's not until this next month. It's, oh my God, it's actually a few weeks away. But my daughter said, hey, let's do one before that, just kind of like a prelim. And I'm like, okay. So we went to Sheboygan Insane Asylum last weekend. Now, before this, getting ready for it, I have to tell you, I was scared. I didn't know what to expect. I really didn't know what to expect. Because like I tell people, oh my God, I'm used to doing readings. I don't mind dead people. I'll talk to them all day long because hell, I love my job. My job rocks. But I don't want anything jumping out and saying boo. I don't want anything jumping out and, scaring the bejesus out of me. I don't want to have to run screaming out of place. I don't want to be hit, scratched, bumped, whatever that you see on these shows. And that really was a fear factor of mine. So then I had to stop and I had to think and go, okay, let's think of this logically. Let's put this in logic terms. And I had known through students of mine that were on set. They were on set getting a hold of me to say, you know what, I'm on this location. They're not telling me any place, but they're on this location. They just want a clarification of what they're getting. And I would literally do a reading from a distance. I did a reading on the distance. I'm like, okay, you got this, this, and this there. The old lady, the husband, the kid, this, and this, blah, blah, blah. I'm seeing all that. And this is what they're all saying to me. They're also showing me that there's a dark creature lives in the basement that creepy crawls all the way up to the attic or whatever the scenario might be. But I was doing these readings from a distance. I'd done readings with asylums from a distance. Okay. I'd done all these readings and I thought, wait a second, well, maybe it's not as fearful as I thought it was going to be. So it was really funny because here we are going to this asylum and I didn't know what it was going to be. And I'll have to tell you, I was scared. There was a lot of fear going on. And as I pulled into it, I just went, you know what, Spirit, just no booze. Just, I don't care if they touch me, this and that. I just don't want to hear boo. I don't want to hear boo. Because I think I would have dropped something and ran as fast as I could. And it was, and then as I was walking through the place, and of course they've got the equipment out and we're listening to all this stuff and this investigation's going on. It's pretty amazing. I'm noticing that I'm feeling and I'm seeing just like I would in a normal reading, just like I would in a normal reading. And then they were going to take us someplace I didn't want to go. And I really had to address that fear because the place that we're going to go was downstairs in the tunnels. Okay. And tunnels really are, when asylums, you'll find a lot of them in older buildings or insane asylums or hospitals, and tunnels will actually connect building to building underneath ground where they're running food or supplies or whatever. But they're really usually dark and creepy and scary and a little moist, little water and humidity going on and everything else. And it's really scary. And for myself, all I can remember is being a kid and where my fear came from. Because, my journey started when I was really young. Now, it didn't start like, I would say, talking to Spirit. My journey started knowing Spirit was there. I could feel them in my bedroom. I could feel them under my bed. I could feel them around me. I knew they were there. It scared the bejesus out of me. Nobody else could see them with me or could feel them with me, and nothing was talking to me. So it was always that fear of not knowing what was there because I couldn't see them. And here I am going in to face my biggest fear and not even realizing that's my biggest fear. And I can remember going to Spirit, going, oh, please, Don't make me run from this. Don't make me run from this. And they turn on every spidey sense I have. And I thought, oh boy, great. And as we walked into this tunnel, no, this is live. I get it. I start to see nurses and doctors having sex against the walls, on the floor. And I start laughing because I see sex and I see drinking. And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on in here? And now they haven't told us anything about this. And I'm like, really, this is like a dark, dirty place for me to be seeing all this. And when we get all situated before to start this next part of the investigation, they give us a little hindsight information on it. And they said this is a place where the staff would go because there was no alcohol allowed on premises. This is where the staff would go to go and have parties. And sometimes they brought patients down. And there was a lot of partying, a lot of poker, and a lot of sex. And I went, ah. So it was really strange because when I opened up all my spidey senses, all of them, I no longer had a fear because I found out my abilities were able to show me what was really going on there. And I actually kind of thought it was cool. So now I'm looking at the next investigation. I am still nervous. I am still scared because you know what? I don't think I'm going to start seeing people having sex again. But I am going to see a lot of the other things that are going to go on. I might feel a lot of things that are going on. But it also feels like something I have got to address, if that makes sense. I got to address it because I need to get that fear of the unknown out. And I have to let my producer know that there's no clock on my screen. It's like the StreamYard just took over everything and there's no clock. But literally no spidey senses whatsoever, which is really, it's just so, God, I lost track of thinking, didn't I? It really is that matter of going, hey, having to, get through that sense of fear. So I want you to, you know what I want you to do? I want you to spend this next week or so thinking, what are some of your fears? Now, they don't have to be spiritual, okay? They don't have to be spiritual. They don't have to be of the paranormal type. They could be like one of mine, fear of snakes. Oh my God. Oh my God, you should see me at the zoo. You should see me at the zoo. Matter of fact, we went to the zoo yesterday, and it's funny because my family loves me. They don't make me go into the reptile area. I love them for that. I mean, I love other critters. I just don't like them without legs. You know what I mean? So, everything else is a go. But what are some of your fears? Are you afraid of death? Are you afraid of things that go bump the night? Are you afraid of snakes? What are your fears? What is your unknown that you're afraid of? Because I bet you, if you study that fear, you study what it is. It's kind of like if I studied snakes, I studied them. If I could pick up on my screen and Google snakes, all the variety of snakes, and learned about them, a lot of my fears would probably go away. But I have a fear of looking at the things. So it's kind of hard to address it at that point. Maybe someday before I die, but not today. Not today anyway. So this next week, I want you to stop and think about your fears. I want you to maybe stop fearing the unknown. Educate yourself and see if you can make that fear go away. Okay? Maybe see that fear go away. Maybe address that fear to other parts of your life that maybe that's how you got the fear. Okay? You never know. I mean, maybe you have a fear of heights and it's because an older brother used to hang you upside down from the barn. I don't know about your life. It happened with mine. I mean, not upside down, but we're on the barns all the time. So there you go. Okay, everybody. Well, we are going to take a quick break here. Now, remember, we're not doing a break at the top of the hour for the news. So when I come back, I'm going to have with me Anthony Mikolojeski. Oh, I need to look at it. Mikolojeski. And he's going to correct me if I'm wrong on that. We're going to have Anthony back with me. And it's going to be amazing because you're going to hear his story and you're going to love it as much as I do. Okay. So I'll see you back here in a few with DeEtte Ranae here on Schooled Thru Spirit with WLTK Digital Radio.
We are controlling transmission. WLTK.
Hey, Anthony.
Let's talk.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Wonderful. We're on a small break really quick.
Captures.
Now we are streaming live
and
on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Methods of
So,
this
we're on the radio and everything else. We're streaming live. And then after that, it'll turn into the podcast.
Okay, great.
Okay. So I'm in a remote location because my office, I will show you a picture of it. I asked him to fix the floors.
And
And he did.
captures compelling.
Oh my God, where'd my picture go?
Some hilarious.
You pronounced my name correctly, by the way.
Did I? Oh my God.
Yep, Mikolojeski, just like it's spelled.
You know what? It is so funny because I cannot tell you. I always tell people I suck with names. I tell them that all the time. And so a couple weeks ago, I went, I am going to learn names. But this is my office right now.
Wow.
Storage room.
A book. One man.
That's funny.
Awesome.
Well, there's always a beginning, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. Lots of fun.
Author Kevin Killen.
We're going to go live here in a couple of seconds on the radio, and I'll introduce you.
Read of his chilling childhood experience, his investigative journeys, and his opinions of paranormal activity. Ghost and Me by Kevin Killen, an Ozark Mountain publication. Get your copy today online or wherever books are sold.
Welcome back to Schooled Thru Spirit. I'm DeEtte Ranae, your host here on WLTK-DB. Let's Talk Digital Radio. And I have with me Anthony Mikolojeski, and he said it correctly. Yes. That's an accomplishment. Hi, Anthony.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's a long last name, but I don't usually give myself a title, but I go by the Ashville Medium, so it's really easy to find me on Google or when you're searching a medium. And Anthony Mikolojeski is just like, well, how do we spell that?
I laugh because what people don't realize is I spent 21 years as a nurse. So anything that's this long, I can pronounce. I can break it down and pronounce it perfectly. Now you give me short ones and I'm no good at it. So Right. So your name for me was easy, but I'm like, yes, I still got it. So I'm like super excited about that. So can you tell you've already said, you're a medium, and I love the fact that you're the Asheville medium. I love that. I do love that because it just feels like it runs off the tip of the tongue, But can you tell people more about you?
Well, so I live in Western North Carolina right now. I live just outside of Asheville. I used to live in Asheville. I live about 15, 20 miles outside of Asheville in Hendersonville. So, yeah, I'm a working medium. I've been working professionally for about 6 to 7 years, roughly. That's being comfortable putting my website out there, telling everybody I'm a psychic medium, which is a big deal.
Yes.
I'm a little bit of a late bloomer. For most of my life, I did hair. I was in the hair industry and, really took that seriously. I studied with Tony and Guy and Sassoons, and I studied in London, England, and Scotland, and Paris, France, and I've to Canada. I've been all over the place.
That's taking it seriously. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, and I've done celebrities and done multi-million-dollar wedding parties and fashion shows and all kinds of stuff. So,
oh wow,
yeah.
Well,
Yeah, so
if my daughter was a hairdresser, and hurt her feelings, I'd come to you.
so it was, it was quite a journey. And then, telling everybody, I'm leaving this industry and, wanting, basically telling everyone I was a medium. It wasn't that I wanted to be a medium. It was coming to terms with it. So,
right.
So yeah, I can tell you a little bit about my upbringing. I grew up in a very rural town of Northeast Michigan called Posen, And
Uh-huh.
my parents originally were living in the Detroit metropolitan area and bought a restaurant bar business there. And so I grew up in a very rural part of America. And so I know that there's some listeners out there that, probably have grown up in a very farm-like rural area as well, and
I'm
feeling
from
like you really don't
Wisconsin.
have anyone.
Yeah,
What's that?
I'm from Wisconsin, so the land of
Yeah.
fields.
Yeah, I mean,
Field farms.
I was only like 70 or 75 miles south of the Mackinac Bridge, so I'm way up there,
Yeah.
And my parents had a separate home away from the business and in a different community, about 10 miles away from the business. And so they wanted to raise me with not being around the business 24/7, although I was there quite a bit.
Right.
And you know, my parents were both married before. They both have children from previous marriages, and they met each other in the 1950s. I have a very unique story. My parents, my mom was born in 1918, and my dad was born in 1919.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Wow.
yes, yeah, it's quite different. And so, growing up, most of my peers, their parents, grew up in the 50s,
Right.
and my parents' age were comparable to their grandparents.
Right.
So it was a very unique story. I'm a second generation Polish American citizen.
Okay.
And so my parents were first generation.
Very nice.
And well, let's see, how could I explain this? So after my parents met, they married, and they tried several times to have a child. And then the third time was the charm, I guess.
There you go. And there we have an Anthony. I love it.
Yeah, so I was born in 1963. My mom was 46 years old. My dad was 45.
Wow.
Yeah, so again, very unique situation.
It is.
So I was kind of growing up as a only child, and so with growing up in this rural area, my first spiritual experience, I was probably around 5 years old. I was working out. I was playing outside, playing with trucks and that sort of thing. And I remember my mom saying to me, don't go too far because dinner's going to be ready soon. It was on a Sunday late in the afternoon, and the sun was out. It was during the summer. It was gorgeous, and I had this experience where this older gentleman came to me, and I would say he was probably in his 80s, and he had white hair and a trim mustache and very tall and lean, and he spoke to me, but he spoke to me through my mind and not. I didn't see any lips moving.
That's gotta be
And
scary.
yeah, it was really quite different and unique. And so I just, he said to me, Anthony, I have something to show you. And the next thing I knew, this is a very unusual story because I don't tell this to many people, but I am going to put this in my book.
Right.
But I was actually levitated, probably about 70 feet above our property.
Wow.
And we had a regular, our home, and then we had a separate garage, and then we had an older home on the property. And this is where this man lived, and he passed away in that home. And so I just remember, collectively from when I first moved there, that I felt a presence there, and I just couldn't quite grasp it as a child.
Right.
What was that feeling I was getting?
Right.
So I'll get back to the story. I don't remember how I was levitated. I just know that I was up there, and I remember there probably being 3 or 4 beings behind me, suspending me. And I don't really remember how long I was up there. I could just remember how beautiful and how cool it was as a kid, to
Right.
think, wow, I felt like flying. It was really an experience I'll never forget. And these beings said to me, we have you supported. We have you, Anthony. and I couldn't see their faces. I could just feel their energy behind me. And the next thing I knew, my mom was coming out of the home, you know, calling for me for dinner, and there's Anthony's nowhere to be found, and she's panicking. I could see her panicking.
Right.
And I told these beings, you know, you've got to put me down. You've got to put me down. You got to put me down. And so the next thing I knew, I was behind the garage, put down there. I don't even remember how I was like put down or levitated. I just, you know, I just remember being up, and the next thing I knew, I was down. And my mom came around the garage, and she said to me, "Where have you been? I've been looking for you for 45 minutes." So 45 minutes of time have lapsed with a mother looking for her 5-year-old.
Oh my gosh, she had been terrified.
Oh, she was, and angry. And I remember, you know, I was just reprimanded for that one. And she says, "I've been around this garage 4 times. Where have you been?" And of course, I didn't have an answer for her, you know. I was too scared to tell her.
Yeah, I think I would have just pointed.
Yeah, and then, you know, DeEtte, it was just kind of after that, I remember many times I would go outside and I'd play, and sometimes I'd take a blanket and I'd put it out on the grass. And I remember laying on my back and looking up at the sky a lot, like I was waiting for something.
Right.
And my mother had said to me several times, "What are you looking at?" I mean, she tuned in that there was some distraction with me looking up at the sky for a reason. And she asked that several times. And I said, "I don't know, I'm just looking, you know." So I never told her that story until I was, you know, much older. I mean, probably in my 20s, and she believed me.
Oh, I can sure. I'm sure she was looking for you. You know, you were you know, 5-year-olds just don't escape off property. You know, they just don't disappear.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I was not the type of child to go running off and, you know, disappearing in the woods or something without a parent or something like that. So it was a very unique situation, but a levitation was what I experienced. And I knew nothing about levitation. And for many years of my life, that story stuck with me in my head as to why did this happen and how did this happen. And, you know, I know it was real because that gentleman, Walter was his name, was a regular friend of mine, you know. And my parents,
was he around after that?
Yeah, he was around a lot, and my parents just assumed it was a make-believe friend because I was by myself.
Right. I know we do that with my granddaughter now all the time because she always talks about her friends, and we were like, well, we know she's got abilities, so, and they tell her the most real things. How do you doubt it? I love that they're supportive in that factor. You know,
they were very supportive in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So how did you transition as you got older then?
Well, you know, well, I also wanted to tell the audience I was raised Catholic. So my parents were, you know, very devoted Catholics, and but my mom had the gift of intuition, and she also had the gift of, you know, knowing. And my father had said to me many times while I was growing up, "You better listen to your mother because she knows what she's talking about." It took me many years to figure this out and listen, but you have to listen to her. And of course, I'd just roll my eyes as a teenager. But you know, more spiritual experiences came through my life. I remember one particular time when I was maybe I think in just going into high school, and this is I was sitting in the dining room area with my mother, and we had moved back to the Detroit area from when I was younger. And when I was a teenager, I attended high school, and it's kind of a long story. And then we moved back up north, but it's a flip flop of back and forth. But I don't have enough time to talk about that. But so I was in I grew up in Warren, Michigan, and we had a finished basement, And there was this huge mirror downstairs above the sofa. And, we'd have parties down there and gatherings, and I'd have my friends over and we'd entertain. But to tell you about this situation is that my grandfather was not doing well in the hospital. He had cancer, and this is my mom's dad. And we were sitting at the dining room table, and my mother was writing out some checks or whatever, and we heard the mirror fall and hit the floor. And it was a very large mirror, and there's no doubt that's what it was.
Yeah.
So we went running downstairs, and there was nothing smashed at all anywhere. And it was just so loud and so impactful, and you can hear the pieces of glass hitting the floor. It was, I'll never forget it because it jolted us, because it was so loud. And then what jolted me even more was, coming back up the stairs and feeling some energy that I didn't know what I was feeling, but it just gave chills up and down my spine, and it freaked me out. And so I ran up the stairs, But I didn't realize this, but it was my grandfather giving us a sign. Right. And shortly after that day, we went to the hospital, and he wasn't doing very well, and we said our goodbyes. And on our way home, we stopped and picked up some food and came home. And this is where it gets really interesting. It was a Sunday evening, and I had to always make sure to put the garbage out for the next day. Growing up, I had these chores. And yet, I'll tell you, my father was he was a very kind man, but if he gave you responsibilities, you better follow through or you're really in big trouble. So we had a series of break-ins in our neighborhood. We lived in a nice neighborhood, but people were breaking in a few streets over from us. And so the idea here was to lock the garage door and lock the side door before taking the garbage out, and then coming in and then making sure that everything's locked up. Well, we had finished dinner, and there was a garage entrance door from the kitchen, and we heard these three big bangs, like three big knocks on the door. And my father just looked at me and he said, "I thought you locked that garage door, and I told you to make sure to lock that garage door." And I said, "Well, I did." And he said, "Well, you obviously didn't. There's somebody standing at this door here in our garage, and it's 8 o'clock at night." And so he took cautionary measures and told us to stay back. And he opened the door, and there was obviously nobody there. And he checked, in the garage, underneath the car. He's old school.
Everywhere.
He was looking everywhere to make sure that there was no one in that garage. And then he checked the side door, and that was locked. And he came back just miffed, and he says, "I don't know what that was, but you did lock the garage door, and the main garage door was locked." And shortly after that, the phone rang from the hospital and gave us the message that my grandfather had passed. And that was me realizing that I was starting to get signs.
Yeah, I love that. We have a viewer here listening to us, Sherry, and she just said, "Wow, 3 knocks is definitely a sign of something." And then you said your grandfather passed away.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, through my hair profession, just to kind of skip through some time, I started to get to a point where I started having clients that were in my chair maybe for the first time. I was starting to get messages from them, understand what they were going through in their lives, and recent events in their lives. And then through that conversation, while I'm working on their hair, they would be telling me what I had heard or seen previously, 15 minutes prior. And so more of that confirmation was happening. And I had a lot of other very amazing experiences through my life where spirit has come to visit me. And it's been through my life consistently from a child right up through my adulthood. And I just couldn't piece the puzzles together. And it
Right.
wasn't until I went to a medium. One of my colleagues recommended me to see a medium, and her name's Marcella Morris, and she's a dear friend of mine. And we used to work together many, many years ago, but we still are friends. And she says, "You've got to see this woman, Nancy. She's a medium, and she's in Canada." And of course, right over the Detroit River is Windsor, Ontario. So I went across the bridge, went to Nancy, and she said to me, "Anthony, you're not going to believe this, but your divine focus or your divine, it's your destiny to be doing the work that I'm doing, and
Yeah.
you're a medium." And I said to her, "You are full of crap. I am not a medium, and I'm not doing this." I mean, I just could not see myself working in this kind of environment with clients, and I just couldn't believe that I was hearing this. All the other information that she gave me was so 100% accurate. I can't even begin to tell you. And I was just taken back from that experience.
Right.
And it wasn't the first medium who's told me this. And so, the good thing is I've gone to reputable mediums, and I wasn't a medium guru. I think I've only been to 3 professional mediums in my whole life, and I'm going to be 58 this year. So that's not saying, I go all the time.
Right.
But each one of them had told me this. And so with more of these spiritual experiences happening and then piecing the puzzles together, I decided that I better start doing more research about myself, more research about what I'm experiencing and why. I mean, I think that when something like this happens to somebody, I think the question of why is normal. Don't you think so, DeEtte?
I truly do. I really do. I want to take a second to acknowledge Michael Christopher. I think you know him.
Oh,
He
yes.
came in to say good morning, and he just loves your story.
Oh,
And
good
Sherry is
morning.
saying good morning to us, and she's enthralled in your story. So I just wanted to kind of let you know that.
Oh, well, wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for your support. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
But no, I do understand that because my brain just got off track. Like interrupted and off I went. But no, I do understand that whole, going to different ones, going to different meetings. For myself, I was a huge medium jumper for a while. So
Wow.
now I never go. I mean, it's like it's a rarity if I go to get a reading. So, yeah. So I apologize for interrupting you though, but I wanted
No.
comments, and my brain literally lost track.
No. So, so it's really, it's been quite the journey.
Yeah.
When I moved here to Asheville, I was planning on leaving the hair industry, and I was already doing readings on and off for the
Right.
last 25 years, but never had a website, never put myself out. It was just word of mouth. And when I moved to Asheville, I found out that it was against the law to get a tattoo, and it was against the law to give psychic readings.
Wow. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I know. Isn't that
Mm-hmm.
crazy?
It is, and it's only been that was like 17 or 18 years ago I moved here. So that didn't really, they didn't really okay that until I would say probably 9, maybe 10 or 11 years ago.
Wow.
Maybe a little more, but it was after I had already thought about, well, I can't do psychic mediumship now. I've moved to a state that doesn't allow it, you know.
So did you get the
And
tattoo too?
well, yeah, I'm in the Bible Belt, so it was like really taboo, and so I thought, oh, great. So I jumped back into the hair again and opened up my business in Asheville. So through the process, I met someone by the name of Jill Jackson. She's a medium, and she used to live here locally. and she's a dear friend and colleague of mine. But at the time, she was just a teacher, and I had just met her. And I started studying with her, and she pushed me. She says, Anthony, you're a medium 100%. You've got to do this. This is your journey, and you have so much to offer. You've got to do this.
Yeah.
And so I took her, psychic development courses. I also took her mediumship courses. And then I decided that I was going to apply how I handled my hair industry, where I reached and studied with the top people in the hair industry. And I figured, I'm going to apply this to mediumship. If I'm going to do this professionally, I'm going to go to the top people and just get as much knowledge and education as possible.
Right.
And so I've studied with my first person that I went to study with was James von Prague, and so I'm certified as a medium through his mentorship. Yeah. Then I studied exclusively with Mavis Patilla. She's a British medium, and she's a beautiful woman and a matriarch in the mediumship industry. She teaches the British style, and it's formal, but it's very direct and to the point, which I find for myself personally as a medium works well for me.
Right.
And then I've studied with Tony Stockwell.
American medium. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, right.
I love personality.
And then I studied with Tony Stockwell and in mediumship and in trance mediumship, and absolutely love it. And for those viewers who don't know what trance mediumship is, it's, in my opinion, the deepest level of mediumship. I am not formally, how would I say, I haven't mentored, I haven't had a mentorship through someone through trance mediumship, but I have taken a lot of classes. I need a sip of water. I'm starting to stutter.
I have two people that want to ask questions. Sherry asked first, but Zainab actually asked it. It says, Zainab, we're not doing readings today. I apologize. Maybe we'll do that for another show. Now that we know we can do this, because other ways we've streamed, we haven't been able to do a reading type show, but we'll have to bring you back on for a reading type show another time of your game for it.
I would love it.
Please stay tuned. We'll bring back Anthony on another time to do readings. But Sherry, what is your question? If you're still there with me. Hopefully the system's a little faster, but it's not. Let's keep, there she is. It says, I have had a lot of out-of-body experiences since I was a child. Why always at nighttime in bed? I can never leave the room. I always see my body asleep below. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, because what happens is our conscious mind goes between being fully conscious and being subconscious when we go into the subconscious state of before we go to sleep. And so, you're at a more relaxed state of mind. You're not in your head. You're not in your thoughts. And when we do mediumship, in my personal opinion, we have to take our analytical mind out of the way to allow that information to come in. And so for you're experiencing that in-between state before going to sleep. And that's why it happens at night. Okay.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that because it's never been explained. So I love how that works.
Yeah, it's happened to me a few times, so I can totally relate to it. She might be doing some astral traveling that she's not aware of, where she begins to see herself laying there, and then the next thing she knows that she's on a journey, which she thinks she's in a dream, but she's actually on a spiritual journey where her spirit guides are probably taking her on some kind of educational journey.
I think that's awesome because I just want to put this in here. I did a sleep study It's been a few months ago, but I actually talked to the doctor the other day about the results. And thank God I don't have sleep apnea. He goes, but something's really strange. He goes, I can see why sometimes you're tired. And I said, why? Because he's bringing up REM sleep and blah, blah, blah. He's like, every so often a body goes into REM sleep, and it just kind of continues. He goes, you clustered all your REM sleeps into one period of time. You're like dead to the world, and then you cluster all of them. And I'm like, well, I'm kind of busy at night. Sorry, I get distracted when I'm gone, and I don't want to come back to the body because I'm doing something. But he goes, he thinks that's why I'm tired all the time, is because I'm always traveling.
Right.
Is what I think it is. So I love it. I love it. So tell me more about, now you're doing readings, hair industry, you've studied with people. How are you doing with your career now? Because people don't just jump from not doing readings to studying to now the, Asheville Medium,
Right.
Oh, Michael has a question. Oh my God, we're just going to answer questions for a minute here. It
Sure.
says, do the two of you ever go through the I'm not good enough medium to be out doing this work? That's where Michael's at right now.
Well, Michael, I can totally relate to you. I think we all, I think when we are going through this process of confidence, or a level of confidence within oneself, we always have the negative, where we get into the analytical mind that I'm not good enough. And then we also are comparing ourselves to other mediums. And competition is a human normalcy. In my opinion, we are always looking at other people, how successful they are, what they're doing. And I have learned through even the hair industry, when I've had my own salons, that you have to worry about yourself and your own clients. And you got to worry about your own integrity and what you're doing, and not worry about what other people are doing. Right. I mean, yes, it's good to be inspired by other people who are successful, but pick and choose the ones that are successful, who support and enjoy the success of others.
Yeah.
So I'm just a big team player. So I'm always, I've always inspired other people and uplift them in the hair industry, and I feel that way in the mediumship and industry as well. I hate to call it an industry, but it is work, and I think it's important to be around people that support you.
Right.
Yeah.
So
the answer to your question, Michael, I just want to kind of go. I got off a little bit of on a tangent. Sorry.
That's okay. I love it.
Yeah, it's the confidence will come the more that you work. There also is having a better relationship with the spirit world. So you have to, blend with them more. What's helped me is I have some trance mediumship guided meditations, and it has brought me closer with the relationship of the spirit world. I think taking more education courses, for me personally, I don't think that's for every medium, but for me, it gave me more confidence having someone from a top point of view, whether it be Mavis, whether it be Tony Stockwell, or anyone that you're studying with, Lisa Williams, it could be anyone, giving you that support and saying how well you're doing or how well you're not doing, because constructive criticism is all what we need, and we're always growing as a medium. I think that we continue to learn and grow, not only about the spirit world, but we learn and grow about ourselves, and they're teaching us. As our world's changing, their world is changing as well. So it's very important to know that you're always going to be growing, so you're never going to know it all.
And that's just it. And I just want to kind of add to that, because not only did I have all that, as everybody on the show knows, my mentor is Lisa Williams, and I've studied almost exclusively under her. But I can remember her asking a question, like answering the question that we all were asking silently. And it was like, why are we here? Why are we doing this? I'm not good enough. And I can remember her answer going, they chose you. That's why you're here. So now with my advanced students, I actually put it, and my advanced students actually just had this lesson a few lessons ago. I actually write a lot about being a messenger. Mm-hmm. And they've only got one question. Why were you picked? And I always get these elaborate answers, which I love them. But one person nailed it. She goes, why not me?
Exactly.
And I went, booyah. Like that's just it. Because you are good enough. Because you are amazing. And because why not you? So
right.
Mike, why not you? Stop doubting. You rock. You rock.
Exactly.
And not just because you're a friend, Michael. You really do rock. I've seen the work.
Yeah, and it's just there's a point where you have to say, why not me? And I know this is normal, and I say that to some of the listeners out there who may want to work in this direction. It's normal to say to yourself, why me? And what I think there's a part of you that may think you're not deserving mm-hmm. of being special, and it's not. When I say special, it's not like all mediums are special and normal people are not. We're all special,
right?
But you have some abilities that you need to look at, and if you're receiving the gift of the spirit world flowing through you, that mm-hmm. is really a special gift. I mean, that's their decision if they're going to work with you.
And it is, mm-hmm. like, I always state, and taking it out of the mediumship spiritual world, I can't do hair. You don't want me to do your hair. You know what I mean? It's not going to be pretty. Even if I had training, my fingers are kind of lumpy when I go like this. I can't use my fingers. It's not going to be nice. I can't do a fade. I can get a clipper and get you all one style, but that's about it. I always look at people and say, we have these abilities because there are God, that's what we chose in life. These are what we chose. And as long as every ability people have, I was a nurse for 21 years. I was a natural healer. That's why I think I was drawn to that, and now I just transferred it to something else, but
they're all gifts.
Yeah, they're all gifts. And we
right.
got something for them. We can't come together as a populace, and then I always tell people, imagine you're a Walmart employee. You better be darn good at it if that's what you were chosen to do.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, working in the restaurant industry, my parents had a bar and restaurant for almost 30 years. I worked in that environment, and I worked in the bathrooms and scrubbed there and worked on the floors, and I did every job that was there. And my father would say to me, listen, it might not be the job that you're looking for or that you want to do for the rest of your life, but you better do it damn well, excuse my expression, and put your integrity in, because you'll never have integrity in the dream job that you want in your life if you don't create that integrity through your life.
Exactly. And then I bet you, I know, like with myself, and I'm you probably have this too, but how often in a reading does spirit use your memories, your experiences as a resource for a reading you're doing right now? And if you had not done all those jobs, you may not understand what they're talking about.
Absolutely. All of our life experiences as mediums, for me personally, and from just speaking to so many other people that I've met all over the world, and it's interesting to find that they've had traumatizing experiences in their life. They've had things stripped away from their lives. They've lost their parents for quite a while. Most of them have lost their parents at an early age as mediums, which is really quite interesting. I know mine. I've lost mine, and obviously because they were much older. But but that's a unique situation in itself. But I find that my experiences, just like your experiences, DeEtte, is
Yeah.
that we can relate those compassionate situations, feelings of empathy, and you know, understanding what your client's going through.
Yeah. It's
And
huge.
that's the spirit world has prepared us to understand what that's like in every situation.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy how that works?
It is.
It's just, it's mind-boggling. If we sit, I always think if I sit with that too long, I'm going to just kind of almost go insane how that works. You know, because it's a treasure how that works for us.
Yeah, there's a silver lining, isn't there, to everything that happens?
Yeah.
And there's lessons that I know that people lose their loved ones, and it's a horrible thing to feel that loss and that time of mourning. But there are lessons for when we lose someone, even if it's tragically. What are the lessons that you've learned from it? Because the spirit world is telling me that your whole family has learned huge lessons, and that's just an example in one of my readings. But there's always some silver lining to it, and we have to remember that our loved ones, our friends, our acquaintances, they're still alive. Like I'm speaking with you, they're just in a different existing plane that we can't see.
Right.
So it's kind of a birth, in a sense, of the everlasting life. And people say, well, why do you do this as a medium? And I think what we do as mediums is we want to prove the afterlife. We want to prove that there is one. We also want to prove that that it is a transitional period.
Right.
It's not a death, and that love continues. Love never dies, and that feeling of the soul and the spirit are still there in the spirit world.
Right.
And they're still very much alive and around us, checking in on us regularly, which is quite amazing.
It really is. I mean, it's insane. It's insane how that works. And I personally love it. For myself, I always tell people, people don't, the body dies and we just have to learn that the relationship changes.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, if I look, my family lives in Wisconsin and I moved to Texas, I'm still going to have that connection. I might have to use a phone. I might have to use FaceTime. I might have to use another means to talk to them versus walking up and knocking on the door and saying hi and giving them a hug. It doesn't mean that they're gone. It just means it changes, that communication style changes. And when death happens of the body, it's just a difference in communication.
Perfect example.
So,
yep. So completely agree.
Yeah, I love that analogy. I love it every time. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm not trying to not get clients. I'm just saying. But you know what I mean? Because, it's nice to know that you can always continue to talk to people. So where do you see your journey going? I mean, and I started the question, I kind of veered right off of it. But, because, you went from hair to very successful with hair into a state where you can't do readings, then you can do readings, and you're studying, and now you're the Ashville Medium. You've got to be one of the first, you know what I mean, for the area. So where do you see yourself going here with this?
Well, I'm not the first for the area. There's a few mediums in Asheville that are wonderful. I haven't met all of them, but I have heard good things.
Good.
Well, let's see. I have done platform mediumship, so I get in front of audiences, and very similar. If some of your listeners are not familiar with platform mediumship, is when we get in front of an audience. And we deliver messages from the spirit world to random members in the audience. And we don't go into a long period of of a reading. It's more probably, probably 10 minutes tops, 10, 12 minutes per person.
Right,
But it gives the rest of the people who didn't get readings in the audience a chance to see how mediums work and get to know our personality and our integrity, and to possibly maybe they may need a reading for closure or healing, or just to know that their loved ones are doing well. It's always a great experience that way. But I do it now internationally. So I've been going to Canada to travel platform mediumship before the pandemic. And so that's been exciting. And, let's see, where do I see myself going? Well, I'm planning to start teaching pretty soon. So I'll be starting to do, yeah. So I'll be teaching my psychic development levels 1 and 2, and then mediumship level 1 and 2. And then I'm also, I have a little bit of my book outlined already for my goal for this year is to hopefully get that momentum of my book going. And I feel it's going to be a series of books. It's not going to be just one book. There's too much information, too much information to put into one book. But it's kind of an autobiography of my experiences and the whole transition period. And I think it's going to be a great book for the general public to read about the process of what a medium goes through when we're in denial that we're mediums. Yeah. And sharing all my spiritual experiences in that book.
I love it.
Which is really, really cool.
Maybe we get together and co-write, because that's a lot of what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
The Spirit's been telling me forever to write the book. And I'm like, no, nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it. And literally they've been writing the book in my head. And again, it's all about my life and those experiences.
Right.
But, I think every medium should write that book. I really do, because although we don't want to compare each other to each other, but you know what? Although we're so similar, we're so different. We
are.
We all have those stories that somebody can. That's why I have this show. It's because there's going to be some out there that can relate to you, that they're going, oh my God, I can believe in me now. Yeah, Michael just said, me too. Michael, I love it. But yeah, they can relate to you, and your story is helping somebody else out there to say, wow, I can do this. I can believe in myself.
Exactly.
Relate to you. So,
yeah. And so, I need to do the book because I want to teach, teach this mediumship that I've learned from so many great mentors. And I want to be able to teach at Lilydale and Omega, and I want to, travel and teach my mediumship and continue to keep it at a high level of standard, because this industry is not regulated, and we all know that
it needs to be.
It needs to be to some degree.
Needs to be.
Yeah.
In the UK, you can be jailed for basically false information. You know what I mean? Yes. To be an impersonator. Canada still has a witch act, which means you can be jailed. The United States has nothing. And I have heard, that possibly there might be something that works anyway. And I'm so happy for it, because I'm not saying being spirit trained isn't beautiful, because it is amazing. And I don't think any of us are not spirit trained, but I think to come in through that integrity and really says a lot, Right.
Really. Well, you can be a very talented person and not have the integrity or not have the chair manner to understand what's professional and what's not. I mean, there are plenty of people in other industries, whether it be doctors, lawyers, or psychologists, or just for an example, that shouldn't be doing what they're doing. And I mean, just because they have a piece of paper on the wall doesn't mean that they're doing a great job. And it goes like that with everything from everything.
It does.
But we're scrutinized the most because the general public they can't see or feel or hear or experience what we experience.
Right.
And it's an energy that is unseen. It's not part of the material world.
Right.
And everybody, you know, needs that plaque on the wall, and they need, you know, that's what indicates the hierarchy of importance in our world. And it doesn't exist in our world as far as what the material world can see. So it's so we're scrutinized a lot more. And I think, you know, some people, even on a religious part, they don't think that nobody could be you know, a healer, or no one could be a medium, or no one could have abilities to connect with the spirit world since Jesus. And I'm not comparing myself to Jesus by any means. I respect all religions. But some people believe that that has stopped since that period, you know? And I have to feel that God gives us healing and wonderful gifts to help others, and there are people on the planet that are here to help humanity and to raise our vibration and to raise each other up and to make a difference in the world. And why shouldn't there be people like that? Why?
I think, you know what, and I won't, and the more I sit with that question and that thought, because I have several times, and not that I've ever studied religion, because I'm not the person to do that. But I was the kid that spent the night at all my friends' house. You know what I mean? And Sunday was a church thing back growing up. So if you would spend the night at somebody's house, you went to their church. So, I mean, I don't think there's many religions out there, you know, that I have not been at Sunday morning mass or church or the synagogue or wherever. And I always kind of look at it and go, well, wait a second, you know, and I'm just saying this is a blank statement, so please don't anybody come back and like shoot me for this. But, you know, everybody will say, you know, what maybe the hardest religion is Catholic. And they're like, oh my God, I'm a strong Catholic, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but the Catholic Church has got a whole region for for exorcisms. So they're the church that does believe in it all. They're the church has got, you know, they got the proof in the pudding that some area of this exists. Does that make sense? It might not be mine in your world, but it is in a world of unseen. You know what I mean? So for the church that everybody says, oh my God, that's so tough and blah, 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 they're the ones that prove it on a daily, you know, on a regular basis that, wait a second, we do believe, but we do believe.
Well,
you know,
I always say this.
Believe it.
Exactly. I always say this to my clients. You know, the Vatican owns Edgar Casey's transcripts. Excuse me, my mouth is getting dry. Yeah, they own all the original transcripts. And for those of you who don't know who Edgar Casey is, he's a 20th century you know, medical medium, and is famous. And his copies of his transcripts are at the Smithsonian Institute, along with Andrew Jackson Davis, who also was a spiritualist and medium in the 1800s. And but yes, the Vatican owns all the original transcripts to Edgar Casey, which I find is very interesting, because if we're considered evil, then why are they having the transcripts? So it makes people think.
Going back to times of Karadak, and they're just trying to shut it down. Who knows?
Yeah,
but that's probably a whole nother discussion.
and you see, I was raised Catholic, and so I've questioned all these things, and so I did my research. And did you know that 30% of the saints from the Catholic religion were mediums?
I believe it.
They were. You can do this research yourself. It's hard to find, but once you find it, 30% of them were mediums, and some of them can levitate. And most of them were beheaded in front of the bishop or the pope, because they didn't want someone beneath them in the hierarchy system to be having more power than they did. So they just got rid of them.
You know, and the funny thing is I always, and correct me if I'm wrong, but anybody that's ever asked me, where do I feel I sit with this when it comes to the Bible or religion? I always tell them that, you know what, the Bible is a beautiful, beautiful story that is a work of automatic writing.
It is.
You know what I mean? It has been literally channeled by man, the information in the book, which is spirit speaking with spirit.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
How can I be not of something that was already channeled? You
That's
know what
right.
I mean?
That's
It
very true.
backs who I am.
There's
And
an interpretation there.
yeah, so that's always my thought, and that's what I tell people.
Yeah.
Students that come to me, they're like,
Well,
"Oh my God, I have a hard time with my religion in this." I'm like, "Read your Bible. It was channeled. Let's start there,
right.
and then let's talk about."
Yeah. And I just feel, you know, I work from my highest good. I work with the divine energy and divine consciousness of the spirit world and the intellect, and that's how I work. And I work through God, and I feel it is the true gift of God in the spirit world. I mean, I take it very seriously.
I love that. I love how we've, you know, none of my guests have we gone there. You know what I mean? None of our guests have we gone there because I think it's almost a taboo subject sometimes.
It is.
You know?
I'm not afraid to go there.
I'm glad you did, because you know what? I was baptized Lutheran, went into Christianity, ended up as a spiritualist. But you know, even my spiritualist faith, I carry a lot of my other beliefs into it, and they're okay with it. They're okay with it.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think it's important too, you know, for us to know that we're not here to try to change anybody's views or feel like we are know-it-alls. But I feel that everyone has their own journey as a soul, and we all have different journeys. And so, you know, I have to respect someone who is on their own path and their own religious view and their own religious journey. And I respect it 100%. And, you know, they might not be ready to come to a medium, you know, not right now, but maybe they will be. And maybe their views will change. I don't know. That's not for me to make that decision, but I always respect that everybody has their own journey. And I do respect it.
Oh, me also. Now my grammar's gone. It's just gone, Anthony. I've had squirrel moments. Now I have no grammar. You know, I'm sitting in my storage room because my office is torn apart. Everything's upside down, and Mercury retrograde is no longer happening. So now we know I'm permanently stuck this way, right? But, you know, I do. You know what? Just to kind of finish off that topic before we kind of go on, you know, I just always like to tell people, you know, it doesn't matter what faith you come from. If you're a medium, if you do have these abilities, or if you're searching out a medium, there really is nothing wrong with it. It's just who you are. And you know what? Whether you believe in God or not, he made you in his own vision, and you are perfect in every sense of the way. So don't deny part of who you are, because he made you. He made you this way. So, you know, that's my own personal views. You know what I mean? But everybody's perfect. So.
Well, doing mediumship for me and personally has been the most fulfilling thing I've ever done in my entire life. Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done some really great things. This is truly the most beautiful thing I've ever done. That's how I look at it.
It is. And apologies. I'm going to ask for apologies for you and everybody else. I'm about to swear. But I heard it in one of my classes, and this is what somebody said. When she was asked what mediumship was for her, she goes, "I get paid to do this shit." Like, wow. You know? And that's what it really is, to be able to live doing something that you love and is so utterly amazing. You can't, I wish that for everybody.
Exactly. It's hard to describe the fulfillment you get from it. So that's where I'm thinking, where I'm going is with my life is going forward. I want to start doing some education and teach teach mediumship at the highest level.
You're going to be an amazing teacher, Anthony. You are going to be an amazing teacher.
I hope so.
You're this amazing teacher with such a wealth of knowledge and caring and compassion and understanding. And, so much. And I can tell you, because I am a teacher of this, the knowledge is amazing, but we can Google that. We can Google the knowledge. I mean, everybody's capable of doing that. And this is a wheel, so it doesn't change. It's always going to be circular. But how your teacher is, that compassion, that understanding, and that part is something that can't be taught. You know what I mean? And you are going to help many because of who you are. So.
Well, thank you. I hope so. You
will. So how do people find you? How do they find you?
They can find me on my website, ashvillemedium.com. I do phone readings, I do Zoom readings. So you don't have to, have an in-person sitting with me. But I love doing in-person sittings because I love meeting people, and so I do psychic readings, and I also do mediumship readings, and I do a combination of both. So I give the option for the customer when they come in, my client, and generally, Spirit will tell me what I'm going to be doing anyway. I mean, whether it be mediumship or psychic, but and just for some of you viewers out there, not every psychic is a medium, but every medium is a psychic. So there are some people that just do psychic work, and then there are some people who do both. So. And
I know some mediums that only say they're a medium, so that's okay too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also want to let my viewers know I do animal communication too. So I do animal communication from the deceased loved ones in the spirit world. There are fur friends, and I also communicate with animals that are living.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
That's a rare talent because I try not to do that. So.
What's that? I'm sorry.
I try not to do that, so I say that's a rare talent. You know what I mean?
It really is. It was kind of a shock for me about 3 years ago when I had a cat come through from the other side for a client, and the cat spoke for 60 minutes for the whole reading. And it was amazing. I was just blown away myself. And that's how it all started. It just kind of developed, I guess.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Michael says, and Sherry both say, great show. They've loved it. This is often awesome. I love it. Really enjoyed it. So we're going to have you come back on again, Anthony.
I would love it.
And I'm going to extend this to you too, Michael, because I know you're listening, and do reading shows. You know what I mean? Now that we have this forum that we can finally do that, a little bit of discussion, and then just offer that to some people, maybe need some psychic guidance.
Yeah. I have some people can find me on my Facebook, Anthony Mikolojeski. I'm also Anthony Mikolojeski, Psychic Medium on Instagram. And, of course, my website, theashvillemedium.com. I do have some events coming up on Zoom on my Facebook, so they can join in there. But I would love to come back, DeEtte. Please have me back. It's been an honor for you to have me on the show.
We're definitely going to arrange that, sometime later, and just because you have been such a joy. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to go to a quick break here, everybody. And when we come back, I'm going to do your weekly reading. Okay? This is DeEtte Ranae here on Schooled Thru Spirit. See you in a moment. What an amazing hour, Anthony. Thank you.
Oh, did you enjoy it?
Oh my God, it was awesome. I loved just the natural flow, and that, it was just amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm getting a little more relaxed with these interviews now, so I'm feeling good. And now that I had my nose surgery thing, I'm feeling better now too.
Oh, you look great. You look great. Hopefully you're breathing great.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, it's been really great.
Awesome.
Just I wanted to get in as much information, so many different levels as possible, because there's so many different types of listeners out there.
There is. we're going to definitely have you back in if you don't mind again. You
I
know,
love it.
and, you know, later on today or tomorrow, we'll message each other and figure out when we can do that. And,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Yes, I would love it. I have a couple, I have a vacation coming up, and then I have another vacation for myself to go to Lilydale for a little while just to re-energize. So in August. You want to come?
I might pick
I'm
you up.
going in August.
Okay,
I'll give you some of my dates, and you should join me. It would be great to see you.
You too. Perfect. Well, I got to get back on the show again. So you have a great day, okay?
Okay, thanks.
That's lovely, Anthony. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
DB, let's talk. What are you waiting for? Let's do this.
Welcome back here. This is DeEtte Ranae on Schooled Thru Spirit with WLTK. Let's Talk Digital Radio. Oh my God, I got all these decks. I mean, seriously, I never do card readings unless for you guys. And these are just four. Just four. I don't know which one to pick this week though. Literally, I usually grab for one and they just kept coming and coming. So, no, I'm not going to do one of each. I literally just heard do one from each. And I'm like, no, not going to do that. That would just be crazy. That would be seriously crazy. So, oh, what the heck? I got a few minutes. Let's do one from each. So we are going to literally do one card from each four of these decks. Okay. Which is going to be crazy. It's going to take a moment to do this. So please know that I'm trying. Okay. So we're going to do four. It's obviously pulling four cards. Okay. So it's kind of like pick a card from a deck. So basically I want you to choose. We're not going to choose 1 through 4. I'm going to sneeze. Bless me. Okay. What we're going to do here is, we are going to say pick your deck. Okay. Pick your deck. So I'm going to do one from Lisa Williams Intuitive Soul Oracle deck. One card from there. Okay. We are going to do one card from the Akashic Tarot deck. Got it. One card from the Divine Feminine deck. And one card from the Heart Tarot, the Psychic Tarot of Heart deck. Okay. The Psychic Tarot from the Heart deck, John Holland's deck. So pick your deck. Lisa with the Intuitive Oracle, the Akashic Record, the Divine Feminine, or the Psychic Tarot from the Heart. Okay, so pick your deck. So we're going to change that up this week a little bit. Okay, so first deck, shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. We're going to get one card from it, and this is going to be literally your card for the week. Okay, so where are we finding you at with Lisa's deck, the Intuitive Soul Oracle deck? Where are we finding you at? Oh my gosh, it's a feminine energy, female figure in your life, mother figure. Okay. I look at this. It's really weird because when I look at this card, it is a feminine energy. It really is a feminine energy. And that aspect of it. Okay. But because when I see this card, I do see the moon. I see the moon up in the sky with the one's face in it. To me, it also represents that intuition, So if you picked the, Lisa's Intuitive Soul Oracle deck, this tells me when you pick this card, you are looking into your intuition this week. It's time to start making note of it. Time to start paying attention up to it. See where you're going with it. See if your guides are talking to you. See what your gut tells you, things of that nature. It's starting to come. It's coming to fruition. It's trying to tell you stuff, and it's really time for you to just pay attention and go that way. Okay. So let's go on to the Akashic Tarot deck. The Akashic Tarot. I don't know how, guys, when it comes time to take in your picture, this is going to be crazy this week. I don't know how I'm going to do it. So let's go to the Akashic Tarot. And if you pick that card, we're going to cut here. Oh my God. I love it. Sherry's happy I'm doing one from each deck. I should have thought about this ahead of time. I might have been prepared. Okay, we have got Archangel Raphael. Archangel Raphael. Okay. Um, I love this. It lets me know that the angels are around with you. I wish I knew all my archangels. I really do. I'm not that keen on them all, but Archangel Raphael, I'm going to tell you when I'm seeing the colors of the fuchsia and the green, it's telling me working with your heart, and it's telling me to really start paying attention to that part of you. Because for myself, the greens and the fuchsias is all about healing. It's heart energy. It's healing, and it's coming from that center. So if you picked that card for myself, I don't think it's so much as the archangel as it is that you're in a time of healing. It's time to start paying attention to your heart center, and it's time to literally start to heal that aspect of you, or those aspects of you. Start paying attention to those, okay? Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, this gets confusing, guys. This gets really confusing. I feel like I'm speed reading with decks. Let's do the Divine Feminine card. Oh, Sherry said that's a beautiful card. I love it. Okay, the Divine Feminine. She says, I feel very, oh, Sherry, she says she feels very emotional. Okay. So, the Divine Feminine card. This is Kuan Yin is the card that I picked from this deck. It's the Kuan Yin card. It's the goddess of compassion. And it's recognize the suffering in order to release it. Curious breeds and compassion. And I like, even, look at this, guys. We're going to do all of them. We're going to talk about them all when we're done. But I'm seeing a pattern even pulling from different decks here. So if you picked the Divine Feminine card deck, you really are looking at healing. You know, it's looking with compassion, because that's what Kuan Yin was all about, was compassion. And it said that, you know what, she refused to ascend completely because she wanted to be here for all those that were still here. Now, it is to recognizing that suffering that is within you, and it's time to release it. It's time to heal and let go, but doing it in a compassionate way. Don't be hard on yourself, okay? Don't be hard on yourself or hard on other people. You know, healing itself is hard enough. Okay, the last deck, and this is John Holland's, the Psychic Tarot from the Heart, okay? The Psychic Tarot from the Heart. This is crazy, guys. I don't know if we're going to do this twice. This is crazy. Maybe 2 decks, maybe not 4. Really? Oh my God. Okay. It just told me to grab a deck out of the drawer. Oh my God. I don't know if they're being happy or cruel, or if somebody just needs it. What's going on? So, yeah, cut the deck here. Let's flip it. One more card. Release. Oh my God. I'm seeing a pattern here, guys, but release. Release. I love this, because when I look at this card, and it's just a man that feels as if, you know what, feels like he's about to go, you know, kind of pull his shirt off softly. He's just letting go. He's letting all that hurts him, that pain, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever. And he's just allowing that to flow freely from his body up into the universe, to allow that to transform that energy. And it really is time to release, guys. If you picked this card, you're in a point where it's time to let go of that stuff. It's time just to release. So you know what? If you have fears, if you don't feel you're good enough, if you feel that, we're just pulling the first deck I find in the, oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever used these on here. It's time for you just to let go. It's time for you just to let go. Okay. Now, the last deck I'm going to pull from, and it's not even the deck I thought I would be from, pulling from. So I grabbed the first deck that they told me to grab, and I did, and it's the Enchanted Map deck, and that's with Clett Baron Reed. I don't think I've ever used this on here. I barely ever opened this. So we are going to pull one last card from this one in case you went, I don't know which deck I want to pick. Apparently you're the one that I need to pick the extra deck from. Okay. An extra card from a different deck. So let's see. God, this makes me nervous. Oh my God. Listening. I love this card. I love this card, especially now I understand where it comes to all of this, because as we've been, you know, and I don't even think I have to, I don't know if I really have to talk a lot about what that card means when it says to listening. But when I put all of these cards together, because, you know, we picked them up individually, just to say them again, if you pick the Intuitive Oracle deck by Lisa Williams, it's a feminine card, which for myself was more about your intuition, paying attention to that. If you did the Akashic Tarot deck with Sharon Klinger and Sandra Taylor, it was Archangel Raphael and healing of that heart chakra. If you picked the Divine Feminine, the Kuan Yin, the Goddess of Compassion card came up, which is really, you know, recognizing the suffering and that pain and releasing it. And if you pick John Holland's Heart Tarot deck, again, it's the release card, guys. Oh my gosh. And the last card I picked from the Enchanted Map of Clot Baron Reed is listening. Okay. Now, when I look at all of these cards, even in the listening, it's not just, I don't think it's not so much as listening to what's outside of you, it's listening to what's in here. Okay. And it's weird because when I look at all these cards and I put them all together, I'm thinking this is really a week for you guys to really pay attention to yourselves. What do you need? Look within here, guys. Look within. Allow this to flow. It's time to heal. It's time to release that pain. It's time to release that suffering. It's time for you to move on. How do you do it? And I think that's the reason why I was told to pick the last card. How do you do it? You listen. You listen. Okay? I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but sometimes when you just sit down and you listen, not just to what's outside of you, but what's in your mind, what's in your heart, what's in your body, you listen to this and hear. It doesn't have to be a long process. It's just a process of listening to what you need. Okay? And then allowing yourself to let that go. Okay? So I'm going to take your quick picture of this just so that we all do this. So I can put this in the thing. Oh my gosh, so many decks, so many cards. I feel like I got to move out of the picture. Oh my God, if you're all watching this is funny. Oh, wait. Oh my God. I'm like, the listen card disappeared, guys. Oh, I'm like crashing everything. Crashing everything here, guys. Just trying to get one picture for y'all. So let's try it again. Do it from this angle. There we go. Got it. So with that being said, I think, you know what? I love it because even with them having me pulling cards from different decks, I still think you guys got some beautiful messages, beautiful cards. God, that was actually kind of fun. Different, but fun. Not something I would think I would do on a regular basis. Especially when I gotta put them all away. Gotta make sure I get them all back in the right boxes. You know, I'm glad you enjoyed this, Sherry. I hope, Sherry, that this is what you really needed for yourself with these cards today, and listening to these cards. Truly hope every week that we do this, that it is what people need. Okay, so let's go on with a little bit from here as I'm putting these cards away. As I'm putting these cards away, I want to talk a little bit about the show. As you've seen, we've had some changes. We've been really going over some changes for a couple of months now, but I think, you know what, through all the changes, I think we might have found our way here. I'm liking the fact, I like the StreamYard. I think it's going to allow us to do a lot more things. It'll be able to let me do the shows maybe in a way I want to do them. A little bit more kind of like the next direction, because I think it would be amazing to do some reading shows where, you know, people can come on and get a reading from, you know, a live psychic, a live medium, and go that way. I think that's a way to go. It does not mean that our shows have disappeared though. Okay. So don't feel that, you know what? Oh my gosh, you can see my feet and everything. I'm going to have to like put pasties over my feet. I don't know in this picture because I kind of wobble. Anyway, I think that it's really kind of time for, you know, all these changes. It's going to help us go into a different direction. Okay. I want to tell you before I talk about the station itself, I want to tell you, like I said in the very beginning, it's going to be easier to find us if you like the podcast, if you're more of a podcast person, or if you found the show towards the tail end and you're like, oh my God, I missed something. I really wanted to see it. This is going to turn into a podcast like immediately after the show is done. The producer just gets on it. He gets things switched into podcast form. Now, before you guys had to go under Haunted Voices Radio, or you had to go under WLTK-DB to find this show. And you know what? That's not always easy because sometimes all you remember is maybe my name, maybe you remember Schooled Thru Spirit, but maybe you don't remember everything else. Okay. Now, all you have to do is literally, you can Google, Schooled Thru Spirit, or you can go into your favorite podcast format, put in, Schooled Thru Spirit. It's going to pop up and you're going to be able to listen to it. Okay. Which is awesome. That's going to make it so much easier. Okay. So much easier for so many people. Let's also talk about our formats. What are formats? Our shows for the week. Okay. I need to get to that page because you all know it's in my phone because I never memorize. You would think after a year I would be memorizing this, but no, not me. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to read it as I always do. Monday mornings, myself, we have got Schooled Thru Spirit on at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Now, later on tonight, we have got the Paranormal and Cryptic Show at 8 p.m., and that is with Jay and Stacey Fountain, a show you really don't want to miss. We have got, after that, tomorrow is the New Bridge Radio, and that's with Kevin Mackey. That is at, I lost track. I'm having squirrel moments. That's at 7 p.m. Now, Tuesday evenings, also at 8 p.m., with Haunted Voices Radio, which is always lots of fun. And at 10 p.m., we have Pete Orbea, and he is with Paranormal Pete. Another amazing show. On Wednesday evenings, we have got The Good Shit Show, and that is on at 7 p.m., and that's with Missy Hart and Nicole Ford, two amazing ladies you don't want to miss. On to Thursday evenings, we have the Afterlife Chronicles, 8 p.m., and that's with Nicole Strickland. Now, on Friday nights, we used to have two shows. We have one now. We have one show now, and I do believe it's Remember Me Radio. And if it's not, I'll be corrected later and tell you different. But I do believe it's the Remember Me Radio with Tori Smith and Renee Rodriguez. And they go, oh, wait, sorry, I'm so wrong. It's the Secrets Within show. I apologize. And that's with Renee Rodriguez and Rod. I can't remember his name. It changed. God help. Justine Rennie. Or just Rennie. Oh, it's just Rennie. Just Rennie. That's not a name. It just means just Rennie. So it's Rennie Rodriguez that's doing Secrets Within. Sorry about all those changes, but a lot has changed with Friday nights. So, and as always, guys, you need to know few things happen. One, if you want your own show, you've got like days getting down to hours. Days or hours. Now, we have been talking. I've been talking until I've been blue in the face to let you know, boom, guys, we're almost done. We're almost done. So if you want the deal, of a lifetime to have your own radio show, it's a heck of a lot less money than it was before. You have to sign up before the end of June. You have to sign up before June 30th. Contact my producers through WLTK-DB, and it's going to take you to a form that you can fill out to say, hey, I want my show. Speak with them. Trust me. You know what? If I could create a show, anybody can create a show. Trust me. Your idea is a good one. Also through advertising, we have got a couple of things going on for advertising here. Okay, a couple of things. Now, we do have a general advertisement. If you want to get in, if you want to advertise, again, we have specials on that. That's going until the end of the year or until the end of the month. Tried to find it until the end of the month to where you can get a special deal. Okay, a special deal. That advertisement will run through every one of our shows. Okay. Now there is a special deal, and this is going to be for one lucky person who clicks on it first and goes to my producer, Todd. So you are going to go to Todd and you're going to say, DeEtte sent me. Okay. DeEtte sent me. And the first one to say this to Todd is going to get this deal. Okay. Now, we're going to be doing a mobile app. Okay. And we want one sponsor. Now that sponsorship is going to cost you $100 a month. Okay. But what are you going to get for that? You're going to get full audio advertising. You're going to get a custom ad on our main website page and a custom ad inside the mobile app itself. You can't get that anywhere. Anywhere. So if you want that for advertising, trust me, $100 a month is cheap for that kind of advertising. Okay? Because as you see, we're getting bigger, we're going faster, we're going further out, and we're going to just continue to grow. So for $100 a month for one person, one lucky person that's going to go to Todd and say, DeEtte sent me, you're going to get for $100 full station advertising, a custom ad on the main page of the website, and a custom ad on the mobile page. Okay, so that's huge, guys. That's huge. Okay. Now, I do hate to tell you, next week we're not going to be here, but it's only for 1 week. Apparently, the producer would like a vacation. And, you know, other than the fact that we have no choice, we said, yes, you can have a vacation. So Monday the 5th through Friday the 9th, there will be no programming. We will be back, and we will be back with me starting that week, July 12th. July 12th, I have Kevin Killen on with me. I cannot wait to have him on. He's just another amazing story for you to listen to experience, and it's going to be awesome. And we will be back here with StreamYard. Again, as you know, that is going to be on, that is going to be StreamYard. We're going through Facebook, we're going on to Twitch, and we're going on to YouTube. So you can find us so many places live, guys. So many places live. Plus, the station itself, we can never forget the station, okay? Thank everybody for joining me. Thank you for, you know, having patience through this week's test series with this. Thank you for Sherry and Michael for coming in and your comments and your questions. And thank you, Anthony, for showing up with such an amazing story that you've shared with so many. I'll see you in 2 weeks here with DeEtte Ranae on Schooled Thru Spirit with WLTK and Let's Talk Digital Radio.